She's from the UK, and she had two dreams. One was that she had a contract with God. The other one where all the gods were telling her, "We're done with you guys. We're leaving. You know, we've had it with you."
Yeah, that's pretty bizarre stuff.
Well, I know, and so, but I was telling her, I said, "Well, what does it mean to have a contract with God?" I said, "It's I said, what I would say is when you have any contract, you give certain obligations to the other party in exchange for a value which you think are worth more than the what you got or than what you gave." And the other side says the same thing. They will oblige themselves to you, and but they think that what they're getting back is more valuable than what they're giving. And I just use this example, like you go up to somebody and you say, "The newspaper in your stack is worth more to me than this quarter in my pocket." And then the guy with the newspaper says, "Well, the quarter in your pocket is worth more to me than the newspaper in this stack." So, I mean, it's a mutual benefit.
But God is unilateral.
Well,
you can't bargain with God.
Well, let's put it this way. Okay. Now you're talking about, well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
Because it's somewhat reminded me of the two bridges that Dawn had in her dream. There's a bridge that goes this way, and there's a bridge that comes to, now there's two aspects of God. One is the one that we call God, and he's this one who demands obedience, demands an obligation. And there's the other one that is the self that wants a collaboration, wants us to cooperate with it. And, but, it is still, I mean, I think the real power it has over us is that it is our DNA. It's this aspect that if you don't follow, this is what
the self doesn't negotiate either. It
no,
puts you
I mean,
in a box can you don't have much of a choice.
Well, either like a tiger, like say a tiger doesn't want to be a tiger.
Tiger doesn't negotiate either.
No, it has to be a tiger. So now it's the funny thing about humans, though, is they don't. Now this is also comes up in this handless maiden thing, and a lot of fairy tales. The idea is that if you get in touch with nature, then a healing process starts. Okay, so Azine, the girl from Persia, she spent 4 years in a one of the Ayatollah's prisons because she was in opposition to government. And anyway, she says, "Well, what does that mean practically?" So I was thinking about that. I talked with Amy about it a little bit. And, what I think the nature that it wants us to get in touch with is that primeval forest within ourselves. Okay, that is what we need. That's why we are sick, is because we're not in touch with that primeval forest within ourselves. In other words,
that's not really a negotiation. That is a discovery, a big discovery.
It is a discovery, yeah, that you're not the master in your own house, and that's why you're sick. Now, Dawn had a very interesting question right at the end, and we didn't really get to it, but it was because Azine said that she thinks you need to be in sync with outer nature, and you need as well. And I said, well, yeah, I mean, but your inner nature needs to be in sync with the outer nature. It's kind of the being in sync with the Tao, you know. And then Dawn's question was, I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was something about that what if the outer nature is something that's not quite, let's say you live in a place where your outer nature that you, or let's say the outer place that you live is horrible, or it's not ideal, and I think let me just see if I can read what she said here. Let's see if I can find it. Oh geez, it doesn't have much. Oh yeah, it doesn't have much on the chat. Yeah, but I think that was what it said.
What, like
Basically,
you live in the city or
yes,
the
you live in the
suburbs or
city,
something where, yeah.
or you're living with you've got a bunch of unruly children and lots of laundry, and you have to work 2 jobs, and you're you're not getting that far ahead, and all that kind
You
of
don't
stuff.
have time to
Yeah, you
walk
don't
in the
have,
woods, right?
no, so you don't really have time to walk in the woods. So
Right.
you're somewhat isolated from nature. So what do you think about that, Roy? I mean, I guess
Well,
again,
it's not going to negotiate. You have to, dream that, okay, this is important to me. This is my will. This is my will. It's volitional, and the self will show you a way. It'll show you a way. Just be open minded.
yeah,
Once you say, well, this is a priority to me. Help me, self. Something will happen. Just pay attention. There'll be a way.
I mean, I just remember that Hasidic parable, or it's it's a Hasidic tale about the busy man's prayer. This this guy said, he asked something about prayer, and this rabbi said that there was this one very busy businessman, and he didn't have time to participate in religious activities. He says he had to run from the time he got up in the morning until the time he goes to bed. He was just running, and then he says, sometimes while he's running through the town and he runs into an alley and he's all by himself, he stops and prays there in that alley. And the rabbi said, and that prayer tears the firmament of heaven in two, because it's considered, I mean, it is it is a prayer of someone who knows that they are aware of their lack. And at least that you're, now you said too, Roy, that it's a matter of discovery, and of the fact that we seem to have forgotten the fact that we're tigers, But the one thing and your dreams have really, I think, were good clues to this too, is that I'm just becoming more and more convinced that all the wisdom of the universe that is available to us is in our bodies and is in our biology, and all the myths and everything come out of the life form that came out. Now this comes to me too. I mean, here's, if somebody asked me my proof of that, here's my proof, and I don't say it's the proof, but it is that this sort of soulscape I have where I go down through these 7 stages, and then I take a trip down to a river where the woodpecker mother lives, and she's the master woodpecker. And the woodpeckers are the spirits of rooted things. They never leave the tree. You know, they fly, but they always fly back to the tree. So there's a symbiotic relationship between the flighted being and the rooted tree. Now so I really think that as far as what I call her the mother of manifest life forms or something like that. But when then I cross this river and I get to the other side, and the other side is the earth before there was any life on it. I mean, this is earth. It's raining, the wind blows, it's cold, it's got ice, it gets hot, but there's no life. There's no plants, there's no animals, there's no anything. And yet the great mother lives there. Okay. And I go down there and I ask her, what's on your mind right now? What are you thinking right now? And also what has also appeared there. Now, this just was like last week. She's there, but also a phallus is there. There is a phallus. It just stands somewhat in the same general vicinity of her. So there is this phallic means of generation, and there is the bearer of life, the great mother. And so what she tells me on this, that she is the potential of all the flourishing of all the plants and all the animals and all the mushrooms and all the molds and all the mosses and all the octopus and all the every fish, every spider, every insect, every bee is ready to come out of her. She is pregnant with expectation, and she says, "You're like that too. That's the way you are too. So you need to." I mean, there's this aspect of that that we, I was talking with Amy about the creative. What is creative? I mean, what really is creative, is that we is this collaboration with the images of soul. Now this is the one thing I say is that spirit. Here's the other thing: is immanence and nearness. Immanence and nearness. I mean, I think that's also a part of the wisdom. It's immanence and nearness. And everything that's immanent and near is healing. The spirit brings meaning, but it's far away and transcendent. But the soul is immanent and near. Now, here's the other thing: is the soul. What Jung said was that the soul told him, "I'm not your projection. You're my projection."
Mhm.
So the idea was that when we are born with this soul who never leaves our bodies, by the way, it is anchored to the body. Now it's also this is interesting. Now this is my own theory, is that von Franz and a couple other people said that the dying never dream about dying. They might dream the day before they die. But she says, as long as they don't resist death, that soul doesn't even seem to think anything's going to change. And what I told Amy about it is because where it is, it's not going to move. Our body dies. It didn't move. It's still where it always was. I mean, there's the idea of that the body goes away, but it's still there somehow. I
For
don't.
Jung says that the soul can die and the body can still be alive.
Yes. Well, that's true too. I mean, are you talking about the anima?
Yeah, it would be the anima, soul, psyche.
Yeah. Well, what he said too was that what happens is the child of the ego and the soul, ego and the psyche, or ego and the soul. The child of the ego and the soul is well. This is also something Jeffrey Raff says. The child of the ego and the soul is a psychoid being. It's one that participates both in the physical realms and in the psychic realms. I mean, he says that's what becomes what they call the ally, what Carlos Castaneda, experienced in Don Juan. It was this not necessarily the child, but I don't know. I really don't know. Jeffrey Raff. I'm reading right now The Wedding of Sophia, and he wrote The Wedding of Sophia because he said one time I was lying in bed and I felt this weight on my bed, and I looked up. It was Sophia, and she talked to me for hours. She wanted me to write a book about Sophia. And the book Aurora Consurgens is about Sophia too. This happens supposedly to Thomas Aquinas, that he met Sophia, and he says, I talked to her for hours, but I don't remember anything she said, except that she wanted me to write this book. But
That's the point. That's the point.
Yes, yeah. But anyway, so he wrote that book. But anyway, Dawn I could only be off track or not really understanding how things work.
She's got a bunch of questions. Start up at the top.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Yeah. Dawn, I always tell everybody that I think you have one of the most interesting relationships. Hi, Charles, with the unconscious of anybody. Okay, I think that what I'm wondering about is the frequent meeting of the two through dreams or whatever technique to reach what is underneath. I wonder if this meeting of the two, the inner nature and the outer circumstances, let's put it that way, and also maybe there's two types of circumstances. One is the place that we always were meant to be. And the other one is this place where, we got all kinds of laundry. We have to work our ass off. We don't have any other free time. And, a lot of that kind of stuff. And this is also true too. I'm just trying to think of things that you do. Let's say the Lascaux, the cave people 35,000 years ago. What did they do to be in sync with nature? And I think part of it is to listen to the inner voice, which is the dreams. The other is art, and I think there's also some crafts. I mean, what is it that humans naturally do, that they were meant to do, that they were born to do? I mean, and those things are what tigers do. Tigers were born to do certain things. But I think that we were born, or one of our things to do is to participate in the sensate, then the feeling realms, the I thou of one to one, that sacred, not I it. You're treating the other as I thou. You're seeing the divine in the other, and the other is the sensate world, the mystery of the sensate world. Then there's the mystery of the voice that speaks to us. But I think part of it is art. Part of it is okay, just working with plants, doing anything that doesn't require thinking, and that you do that what they say, what do they always say, that what's important is the process, not the product. This is what Marion Woodman always says. You don't care about the harvest. You care about this, planting the seeds, taking care of them, weeding the garden, making sure it's watered. That's the important work. The product at the end doesn't really mean a lot, But I think that the sickness is the overvaluing of extroversion and the thinking function, I think. But anyway, let's keep reading. Charles, how are you doing? Okay, now this is a very profound question she has. I wonder if this meeting of the two, I just feel like something must get produced or changed somewhere along the line. I'm thinking of what I've heard said by others about having a foot in both worlds, or having an eye that sees, using the cooperation of the two together. I could be off. I don't think, first of all, that's on track, or not really understanding how things work, but I have thought that for music and dancing, okay, this is beautiful, is a way to meet the tiger. Music and dancing. Now, Roy, you just had that post about rhythm. What did it say? Rhythm is what?
Yeah, it's it's where you meet life. It's
Yes,
where you meet life.
I mean, this is what the drum, and also the cello and the flute. I mean, it's percussion type instruments. And then the lyric, where does the lyrical come from? I want to tell you something. This was actually happening. There was a geneticist in Japan. This is when they first came out with music synthesizers, and he would assign a musical note to every genome on DNA, and when he would play it of the transparent covering of the eye, he said it sounded like Vivaldi's Four Seasons. Okay. I don't know if you've ever heard the Four Seasons by Vivaldi, but it's just the absolute most lilting, beautiful music that you've ever heard. Very, it's just, there's something about it. It's just, and then when he played it of a cancerous, what they call an oncogene, he said it sounded like Chopin's Death March. So where does music come from? It just comes right out of the body. I mean, the music really is I think the music of the body, and I think the rhythms are too. Yeah, go ahead, Charles.
Sorry, I wasn't able to say hi because I have my phone in my pocket and I have to like quick draw it and hit a couple buttons. But yeah, there's a lot of people like me that say the whole world is just in a state of vibration, and everything, like literally everything, follows like the harmonic rules and music theory. You can apply music theory to literally everything, because everything in the universe is in a state of vibration. And
yes,
consonance and dissonance is one of the most important principles in life, in my opinion.
Dissonance.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I actually am not in New Orleans right now. I wound up in Jackson, Mississippi.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so I'm going to be here for a week, and I just got my ass kicked today, like 12 hours straight.
Oh geez.
So I'm pretty tired.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm sorry. That's well, it's somewhat. You'll have sleep well tonight. I'm thinking what I heard said by others about having foot. Well, I think I got past it. And music. Yeah, uh, yeah.
Oh,
I
I have something
resent
to say about
everything.
dance too.
Yeah. Well, that's the
Sorry,
other
just
thing.
started. Oh, can I say
The-
something real quick? Or
yeah, go ahead.
no? Okay. Sorry, I just started eating a cracker. So with dance, I don't know why dance is so powerful, but like one of the most, so really I would say the second most powerful numinous experience that I've ever had in my life was after dancing to a, it just happened to be just the right song, the right day at the right time. And like, I all of a sudden, I mean, I was totally definition of the Grail Castle. I was just like, everything was perfect. I just opened my front door and just sat in the doorway, and I could see the perfection of everything. And I could feel that everything was because the creator loves us. That, you know, I was like, you know, can't you see by how the sun shines that God loves you? And can't you see how by the way the birds sing that God loves you? And I could just sense the perfection of everything. And it's like I could see the trees as, you know, it's just, everything was just one. Everything was just a part of everything else. So it was just one giant organism of God. And yeah, dance helped me achieve that. So yeah, dance is really important.
Well, yeah, and you know, it's like they say about the birds, you know, are do the birds sing because they're happy, or are they happy because they sing? You know, it is I just want to show you too. You just talked about harmony and disharmony, and then hopefully somebody has a dream. I could put one of my dreams in, but
Oh, I thought we were going over a dream.
no, we
I
weren't.
have
We
a
were
dream.
talking. Yeah, go ahead. If you've got one, or anybody has one, I was just going to show you one dream I had. I'm just going to show. I drew a picture of it. I think I've shown this before, but I want to see if I can find it. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so there was a great music which comes up in volume, but whose harmonious forces are out of balance, making a disharmonious music. But it was even more deeply meaningful because it was disharmonious. And the darkest of winds came and demanded the surrender of the creator of the disharmony, a beautiful human being connected with the heart of all music. But he is the he's known as the master of disharmony, but he's connected with the heart of all music. The castle and its inhabitants were reluctant to turn him over to the wind. Now, this is an actual dream. It's an actual dream. And afraid of the moon power, which would then take over the music and the telling of the tale, the creator of disharmony was summoned unwillingly. The woman, locus of the center, was on a pedestal left alone to face the coming of the dark wind, dangerous, ominous, yet beautiful too. As the wind left with this creator of the disharmony, he and the woman of the center were held briefly together for a moment. With death, death came in his death shroud, and it was unbearable. After, there was no joy left. It was much tempered by the absence of the life force. But afterward, I find the man and the woman, the ones who were there before, in the dark, sleeping separately. And I'm thinking, weren't these those two? And if so, what was all this fuss about? You know, anyway, that was a dream I had. I drove, here's the woman on the pedestal, here's the creator of the disharmony, here's the moon power and anyway, it was a pretty interesting dream. But well, Charles or Dawn or anybody that has, do I have that dream typed? Not really. It's just on that, written on that thing. You know, that was a dream I had a long time ago, but it's kind of one that, you know, was sort of that dream. And there was that dream, you know, two of the most meaningful dreams was that dream and another one. And this, just listen to this dream. There is a train going through the night, and I am lying on the little porch of the caboose, and on my back, and I'm just looking up at the starry sky, and the moon, and as I'm going along, I look down and I see the tracks going by real fast, the tracks and the railroad ties, and then the fence and the fence posts are going by a little slower, and then the light poles that are on the other side are going by even slower, and then the trees on the other side of the field are going by even slower than that. And then I look up at the moon and it doesn't even move. And that was the whole dream. But for some reason, that dream, I never ever forgot it. I mean, it was a dream that was kind of an initiation dream. And I don't really know what it means, but it was just, there was no anything other than this motion. And the fact that there was several things going at different speeds, but I'm on the caboose watching it all, you know, going through the night. But anyway, okay. Okay, I do have a dream, something like your sharp dream, Craig. Okay, well, why don't you send me that? And Charles, if you have a dream, or Roy, you have a dream, let's go on. I mean, this is these are what we do when we do this is soul work. You know, I mean, we really are doing the work of soul. And you know, you talk about having a foot in both worlds. Every time we do a dream, we have a foot in both worlds. And it's really an act of imagination too, but you know, we're doing it cooperatively. But anyway,
I mean,
Charles, do you want
Roy or Dawn can share their dreams? I think I might be too tired to really process mine thoroughly, so I'll wait till Wednesday.
Well, we'll just go as long. Can you either put it in the chat or email it to me, Dawn? Yeah, you can email it to me. I can. Got my email up here, but what do you think about all this, Roy? About all this? Do you have any comments about you had this seminal dream of down by the river, and you've had lots of dreams where you're crossing rivers and things, you know, and there's something about
yeah, I'm sort of lost as we pass so much stuff. I mean, I don't know even what the question is.
Oh, just what that was kind of my seminal dream. Did you have one? That was was it the one about where you're carrying that person along on the?
Yeah, that's probably my biggest dream I had in my 20s, where I was picked up that guy and carried him up a hill, and I just said, well, those statues in that bridge, I can always come back to it. Yeah.
That was so good. You know, but anyway, we'll go through Dawn's stream here. All right. Okay. You know, both those dreams I had about the shark and about the about the whales. Neither one of them though were dreams. They were just sort of visions. Just something I saw. You know? Okay, I'm gonna put this in the chat, or I mean, I don't think we got it all. Control V. Okay. All right. So in a dream, days later, I dreamed of being in. Okay, in a dream, a days later, there it is. Okay, it's all there. All right. Okay, I got it. Just a second. Whew. Okay. Did you want to read it, Roy? Can you find it?
boy. I'll give it a try.
Okay.
Let's see. 11/9/2021. Sharks in the water. September 11th, 2021. Sharks in the water. Okay. I'm not sharing this dream to have it amplified, but rather because it reminded me in a way of another dream that was shared along the group. The difference might be that the other dreamer knew how to handle the shark. I see the word friends next to options on a screen that reminds me of something maybe like on a video game sit-up screen. Scene change. My two children, my niece and I, were in the ocean and needed to be rescued. Someone came with a helicopter and lifted us up out of the water with a rope, reminiscent of the captured line to me. I felt like I couldn't hold on and I was scared that I would drop or I couldn't hold on to my son. I felt like I was losing my grip on the rope as well, and I frantically begged to be put back down before we fall. They said, okay, but sharks are in the water. I looked and saw one speeding towards me like soon as I hit the water. I felt like neither place was safe. In a dream, days later, I dreamed of being
Okay, it's on the in a
right.
dream.
I dreamed of being in an exhibit with a mechanical shark with only its large head the size of a room. It was activated somehow and charged me. Nothing happened though. It all seemed to be to show me the experience of it, but I was left not knowing the reason for me needing to know what that is like. Scene change. I looked up over my house towards the south at a group of stars and saw a portion of those lights go out before I didn't know why. I was trying to get people to look at it and see it. I don't think anyone did.
Okay, great. Well, let's go through it. You know, there's this song that David Lynch wrote. It was in Twin Peaks called "No Stars." I just think there's a painting that that Sigmund Freud's son or grandson did. It's called "No Stars." You know, the sky suddenly has no stars. But anyway, let's see. I see the word "friends" next to options on a screen. That reminds me of something like a video game or a game setup stream. Is that the start of it? I'm seeing. Maybe I don't have that. It was in 3 sections or 2? Just 2?
It's 2 sections
Yeah.
and starts with, I'm not sharing this dream
Oh,
to have it
yes.
amplified.
Yes. Okay.
Hello?
I'm not sharing it. Go ahead, Dawn.
I had made the post. I had made it as a Facebook post originally. That's why it has
Oh,
this
I
stuff
see.
in it.
That's
I
why
didn't
it
mean
says that.
I didn't mean to copy that and put that in there. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah,
Just
no
skip that.
problem. All right, well, let's go at it.
Okay.
Okay. So it is it's September 11th, sharks in the water. And let's see. Okay. Now, first, I see the word friends next to an option on a screen that reminds me of something on a game setup screen. So I see the word friends. Okay. So there's something it's next to an options that remind me. So there's several push buttons on the computer. One says friends, you know. And so anyway, that's the first object. But what we usually uh, um, when you have scenes that are somewhat related or unrelated, the first one is usually from this that. So from this first aspect, where we see the word friends next to options on a screen, reminds me of something on a video game setup screen. The scene changes. Okay. Now, my two children, my niece and I, were in the ocean and needed to be rescued. Okay. All right. So this growing aspect, now there's three, there's four. There's us, the two children, and the niece. Now, are your children, what gender are your two children? Are they a girl and a boy, or two girls, or?
Yeah, I have a boy who's 11 and a daughter that's 15.
Okay. That's 15?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Wow, your family's grown up. So anyway, they're in your niece. So there's three feminine figures, one masculine figure. Now, this happens so much in your dreams, Dawn, is that you have to go and rescue something that is in distress. So there is something within us that's in distress. And what I'm really thinking it is you know, in alchemy, we are not redeemed. Ego redeems the soul within us that is suffering from neglect. Now, this is why Charles has dreams about emaciated hamsters, dead hamsters. I have dreams about emaciated dogs. So, again, there's something that needs to be rescued. Now, someone came with a helicopter and lifted us up out of the water. Oh, and you are in the ocean too and need to be rescued. So there's a quaternity of you and two feminine aspects and a masculine aspect that are in the unconscious and need to be in other words, I would say that there's not enough earth. Remember, this is the Charles problem, not enough earth. And so now one thing that always comes in your dreams too is some kind of an air vehicle, some kind of vehicle that travels through the air. And this is a animus. So now the animus, the archetype of meaning is dropping a rope into the unconscious, is going to bring a quaternity of aspects, you and a quaternity within you out of the danger in the depths. Okay. Now they lifted us a rope, and it was reminiscent of the captured lion. Okay. Now, does anyone remember that? I don't remember that. The captured lion. Dawn, was that another dream?
Yeah, there was it was, I don't know if it was a lion or a tiger. It was a wildcat, and my friend from when I was a kid, She was driving down the street to go help with this, and it wasn't like any kind of air vehicle that I recognized. It was just some kind of air vehicle, and it came with a net, and it was had captured it, and it was trying to lift it off the ground, and there was a guy there trying to help, and I was worried that the cat was going to hurt someone.
Yeah, and this is a recurring theme too, is this, except I don't think the of this air vehicle, but in this case, I don't remember seeing this in your dream before, is that you are adrift in the unconscious. The animus is going to come and lift you out. Okay. Now this is very, symbolic, I think, Now, I felt like I couldn't hold on, or I was scared that it would drop, or I couldn't hold on to my son. I felt like I was losing my grip on the rope as well, and frantically begged to be put down before we fell. They said, okay, but there are sharks in the water. And I looked and I saw one speeding towards me. As soon as I hit the water, I felt like neither place was safe. Oh, this is amazing. Okay. See, we can't either go up, and we can't stay where we are, So we're like, in between a rock and a hard place. And so there's an aspect of this. This is somewhat typical in dreams, that we are in a dilemma that can only be resolved by a miracle. Some type of a miracle has to happen, because the forces of ego can't do it. The forces of the ordinary world can't do it. Okay, what really? There's no difference really between being in the ocean without a boat and being in an ocean without a boat and having a elemental being in that ocean threaten us. Okay, but because both are a threat, the fact that we are in an ocean and we are land beings is a threat, and so is this thing, this other thing. But okay, to be, basically to be devoured in the unconscious means that there is a threat to ego consciousness. Ego consciousness is under threat. Now, this is often a good thing, because if nothing dies in dreams. So if the ego is well, remember the snake that swallowed that hamster that was somewhat human. The idea here is, I think, that first of all, ego consciousness is under threat. So now what usually that means is that we somehow are not able to the unconscious appears threatening to us. And the reason it appears threatening to us is because the ego feels it's going to be overwhelmed by it. Yet, and that is it because the ego doesn't have a strong enough position yet? Charles keeps getting told that he needs a new suit. He needs a new persona. He needs a stronger ego. And I think he's doing a lot of ego strengthening right now, and in the dream. Okay. Now, after that, so the scene changed. In a dream days later, I dreamed of being in an exhibit with a mechanical shark, and with only its large head the size of a room. It was activated somehow and charged me. Nothing happened though. It all seemed to show the experience of it, but I left not knowing the reason for me needing to know what that was like. Okay. Now again, the threat to ego is that I would say that the threat to ego is that the unconscious appears. If we have a meeting with the unconscious, the ego is afraid it's going to be overwhelmed and just sink to the bottom. In other words, we're going to have some kind of maybe a psychotic experience or something. This is what Jung told James Joyce and Lucy, about his daughter Lucy, is that he says, well, she uses the same, Joyce told Jung, she uses the same language I do. And he says, yes, but you dive and she sinks. You dive consciously, she sinks. Okay, now there's a scene change. I looked up over my house toward the south. Now there's a scene change. So in other words, we're no longer threatened by either the ocean or by the shark. So the idea here is there's just some kind of a difficulty for there is the animus, or this this thing that is involved with the upper realms, cannot take us out of the unconscious. It's like a rocket that couldn't get out of the hole, somewhat. Okay, now I looked up over my house towards the south at a group of stars, and I saw a portion of those lights go out, but I didn't know why. This is just, it's so beautiful. I was trying to get people to look at it, but I don't think anyone did. Isn't that beautiful? I mean, you're looking at stars. You're looking at these stars. A bunch of stars that suddenly, boom, they all go out. Okay. Now, what is this dream trying to tell us? I mean, it is both aspects of this are very profound, unbelievably profound. And it's almost, I mean, it's so deep, so deep. What do you think, Roy?
Yeah, it's kind of reminding me of Charles' dream. It's the self is turning phonic, and it's it's closing in. I've had 2 dreams with sharks in them lately. I think I told one. And that's a chthonic image of the self, theriomorphic and chthonic. But Dawn doesn't seem to be afraid of it. And it's almost like she has a dissociation.
A dissociation?
Dissociated.
Could you kind of describe what you're thinking a dissociation is?
A dissociated is a compartmentalized, something that's unpleasant to her. She can compartmentalize it, and she doesn't have to deal with it.
Yes, right. Okay, good.
And Charles has the same thing. He can dissociate and compartmentalize and not have to deal with something that's unpleasant. I think they both have that in common. So, and like the lion, she was scared the lion would hurt somebody. So she's like a wild animal, and if she panics, she could hurt somebody. I mean, the lion's her too. The wild cat's her too.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to be cornered. So she doesn't want to be cornered, and she can just dissociate from the shark. And I think at the end of the dream, that's why the lights disappeared, because in one dream when she was falling, she looked up at the stars and they were shining and they didn't
Oh,
go out.
yes.
And it
Wasn't
was
that
sort of
beautiful?
her salvation, but they went out in this dream, and nobody's going to confirm that they were there. And so this dream is like one of Charles' dreams where she's really being cornered. She's,
Yeah.
I mean, the self is really putting some pressure on her in this dream.
Yeah, and I don't think it is doing it to be mean. I
No.
think the idea is that it is yeah, like you said, that it needs a response from us, you know. And the idea is, if we don't respond in the outer world to the images that we get, that is there's just this aspect of that, you know, that well, first of all, in both cases, I think now let's talk about the I want to talk about my shark dream, you know, shark vision is the anima suddenly out of nowhere on a dock. The anima runs as just fast as she can, and she jumps off the edge of the dock into a place where there were sharks, a shark that had eaten several people before. But she just lands on the shark's back, and with her reins, she has reins on the shark, she guides it now. She's now in charge of this dangerous elemental being. Okay. So in this dream, now, first of all, somehow, let's. I want to talk one other thing is the group of stars. Now you remember, dawn was falling. I think after she went out, she was on a roller coaster or something, and she goes through this curtain, you know, and suddenly, so when she goes through the curtain, she can't stay in the maybe I'm mixing up two dreams, but she falls out of the car, and as she's falling and tumbling, she looks up at the stars, and then she's able to orient herself as she falls, but she doesn't injure herself. But now that what she used to use as an orientation, the pole star, suddenly that area goes out. So there's an aspect, there's two aspects here. Ooh, there's two aspects. One is where we are in the, we are just adrift in the ocean. We are in need of rescue. Us and the growing thing. And I think it would be it's probably the mother's sister's daughter, and then the growing two aspects of the growing aspect of ourselves are adrift in the unconscious. We need rescue. The animus comes to rescue us, but we are not capable at this point of being rescued by the animus, you know, and so we can't hold on to the rope, you know, and well, they say yes, but you need to find out how to be capable of this, because there's this, well, the unconscious just, I wonder if that worked. I told him to shut up. But anyway, we can't be rescued by the animus yet, because we're not ready to be rescued by the animus yet. There's an aspect of us that we are still sort of mired in this realm. And, you know, this has come up how many times where the animus, we can't get out of the hole. There's just this aspect of it. Up until now, the animus and us. Now, remember in Charles' dream too, the anima, he can't connect with the anima because he doesn't have any suits of clothes. You know, in this one, we don't have the ego strength to hold on to the rope that the animus offers us as redemption, you know, and also we need to pull the growing things out of us. There's just too much. The strength in our arms is not strong enough yet to have this occur. Okay. So then there is the shark there, but it doesn't appear. We see the shark, but we read all really neither place is safe. Neither going up where we're not ready for the animus, nor staying where we are. You know, they're not safe. But apparently we're fine because suddenly, and the scene changed, we're looking up. Now, do you remember, Dawn, when you're looking up over your house toward the south at the group of stars, where were you when you were looking up over the house? Were you still in the ocean, or you're out of the ocean now, aren't you?
I'm in my front yard.
You're in your front yard. So in other words, this was just more of a metaphorical parable, you know, the first part of it. You know, it was more of a parable. And then it's connected. Now, first of all, remember, it's connected with, I see the word friends next to options. Then we're trapped in the unconscious. We don't have the arm strength to get out, but we can't, so we're going to fall if we go up too far. We're not ready to go up, but we can't stay where we are either, you know. Do you get a sense there of just when you hear that? There's first thing, I see the word friends. Who is our friend? I don't know. I would say our friend is the unconscious is our friend. You know, but at this point, Charles, do you have any comments about it?
Yeah, I do. So I see the first part as Dawn is afloat in the unconscious, somewhat stranded, and is there, you know, taking care of the growing things, divine child, this what needs to be developed, part of the personality that needs to be developed and cared for. And yeah, it's where you do it, unconscious. But it's difficult when you're just stranded in the middle of it. And there are dangerous, potentially devouring psychic forces, autonomous forces that can really hurt you. And if you're not, you know, it can hurt you, or maybe they don't. It just depends on the person. It depends on, you know.
It's not differentiated yet. That's why it's so threatening.
Yeah, true. But I see the help that's offered from the animus, because that's what, you know, she needs at the time. She needs to get a higher vantage point, spiritual perspective, so that you can sort of gain a better perspective of the unconscious and not just be adrift in it and just be overwhelmed and confused. So the animus comes in the helicopter, but really he's not giving her the best support. And it's just a rope. I mean, in rescue helicopters have ladders, have rafts that they can bring down. Like, so it's a coupling of, like, she doesn't have quite enough strength, but also the support that's provided from the animus or more spiritual aspect of the personality is not really very good. And in my opinion, I mean,
Should
it could
put
be
a
better if you
cage
ask
down
me.
there.
I mean, right? I mean, a rope, just a rope. That's making it harder than it needs to be. And so then she comes back down, and then there's this you know, a meeting of her and the sharks. And then and the shark later, the giant mechanical shark, I totally see that as the self, but or some undifferentiated archetype or something that's like, you know, just lashing out, not like hurting her or anything, but just like, ah, look at me, be aware of me, please. And so, not like, but nothing really happens. Like this, those two parts of the dream are sort of a letdown. And then that's, in my opinion, why the last part where the stars fade out is because whatever that was got deconstellated. And like
Constantly, yeah.
the psyche has to say, okay, well, I tried that one, I'm moving on to something else now, and maybe she'll be able to integrate what I show her next. Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, that's very helpful. See, let's just kind of review that. Is that the I think the idea of I think it's a positive animus. It's not a negative animus, you know, because it's providing an ascent, but there is no way to ascend right now. So it provides ascent, but we're not ready for ascent, you know. So us and the growing thing are still in the hole that we were in the other dream. We can't, as of yet, there's not enough lifting power for the ascent, and the help that the positive animus provides is not sufficient to overcome the fact that we're not ready for the ascent yet. So there is the positive animus, and then the aspect of us that is not ready for the ascent. Now, the fact that it's dangerous, that it's watery, that there's no earth, and that it's got a shark in it. You know, in alchemy, the first thing you see that is representative of the self is a dragon. Okay. But once you start to have a relationship, you know there is a dragon there, you give the dragon attention, it becomes a unicorn. Okay. But how does it transform from the dragon to the unicorn? That prima materia, because we give it our careful attention, it now, well, it's like me. And when I was going down the street and I see a baby in the street. I swerve to the left, I turn the car around, and I come back. And I also saw a girl or a woman down at the bottom of the hill wearing all green. But the baby's in the street in great danger. So I swerve out of the way, do a U-turn, I come back. The baby's no longer in the street. It's standing on the side of the road. It's out of danger because I gave it attention. And yet it's not a baby anymore. Now it is a young child. So from me giving the attention, the growing thing developed and got out of danger. But that's the aspect, I think, to make the unconscious less dangerous, to change the shark into a unicorn. The aspect that we need to do is to give the depth our sincere and genuine attention. And I hate to say this, but it's actually just a realizing that this is real and this is very important. It needs our attention. So it is, yeah, Roy said at the beginning that God doesn't negotiate. It is it's not demanding, but it is required that we give it our attention. Once we give it our attention, land will appear, the uh, the shark will become a unicorn, and there will be some better mechanism to have an ascent than we have now. You know, but what is lacking, I think, could be one of two things: either that our ego needs to be more fully developed, or that we need to give more attention to these images. And I think in Charles' case, there was a little bit of both in that. What do you think, Roy?
Well, I think that she does have the strength. I mean, she's had other dreams where she's been lifted out of a hole or whatever, and her balloon deflates or whatever. You know, it's always going on some excuse. But if there's the wild cat, and she also has sort of a green man, there's a wild thing, just like Charles has this Viking. They won't use it. I guess it's just so powerful that they're afraid of it. I mean, if they used it, it would totally transform their life. It would totally it'd be a huge disturbance. So, you know, they just keep it in the pot. Well, that's what she's going to have to get in touch with to be strong enough to go up the rope or to lift herself. She has to get in touch with the line, with the wild cat. And she also talks about this star thing. And when she was falling and she saw the stars, she got orientated. She had an orientation. Well, the stars is not a negative thing. It's just telling you that how are you going to orientate, Dawn? If they go out, how are you going to orientate? Where's your orientation? You know, you got to find your orientation. You can't expect to get lifted out without participating in the rescue. You know, and that's called orientation. You have to have your own personal orientation that's coherent to you, that you understand, to start the process and be successful.
Yeah, that participant, be a participant in your art. Now, isn't it? It's still mysterious, though, that this has to do really with having the foot in both worlds, because I think we're coping fairly well in the outer world, you know. But what this is asking us, and Dawn, I think your unconscious is a extremely gifted unconscious. And I think very few people have an unconscious that is gifted as yours. And it is saying that you are very precious. You are very valuable. And it is trying every way it can to give us both a scent, give us a scent. Now, I think the reason the unconscious is a little dangerous and all that kind of stuff is because it's still in the prima materia setting, where it's just, you know, just raw nature. It has not become this divine child yet. It's just too raw. And the reason it's too raw is it needs our participation, as Roy was saying. You know, in my case, you know, I have to turn back. Now, remember, in Robert Johnson's case, this you know, dragon is chasing him, and it's getting closer and closer. So it's like the shark. It's getting closer and closer to him, and it's just about to overtake him. Now, how does he participate? He creates a circle with his arms. So he's saying, he's creating a mandala. And then suddenly this snake just puts its head through that. And then it's no longer the dangerous snake anymore. It's become, it completes the mandala. Isn't that just beautiful? But so I think the main thing, Dawn, here is about having a foot in both worlds. you know, and now how do you do it? I mean, I don't know. I mean, let's just say if it was me and I had this dream and it wasn't going away. I was having just these recurring dreams over and over again, and they were all of this nature. And I went to an analyst. I think what the analyst would want me to do would be, you know, they would do what we're doing right now. They would talk about the dream, but I think the other thing is that we also we can't just sit back and listen passively to the an amplification of the dream. We need to, you know, Jung says, I tell people they need to set aside 1 hour a day for their soul, and they look at me like I'm crazy. So it doesn't even have to be an hour, it could be 20 minutes. You know, just 20 minutes a day, okay, of doing a dialogue and talking to the helicopter pilot, talking to the shark. You know, I mean, just say, shark, why are you so dangerous? What is it that you are want in the water? Or helicopter pilot, why do you know that I can't grab the rope to pull myself out and pull my son and my the other two out? Why do you just give me the rope? You know, and then the other thing I think it is, again, this is to turn the shark into the unicorn, is to do a little bit of just drawing and coloring, you know, of the dream. Now that's that's a nature way of doing it, you know, and that's what the Naskapi Cree do that all the time. They draw every dream, you know, but the idea is they want to change the dragon to a unicorn. But anyway, Charles or Roy or Dawn, do you have any more comments on it? Or
No, I think I don't know. I feel like I would understand the dreams if they were mine. It would totally make sense to me. But
okay, tell me what you would, how you, they totally make sense to you. Now the other one, these are such powerful images. This the stars going out. You called it deconstellated, something deconstellated, which is a wonderful term. But why don't you just describe, Charles? This is your dream. What do you tell me? What you would say?
I mean,
You're,
practically the same thing that I said, you know, earlier when I described what I thought about it. I mean, yeah, it's just that I would be applying it to myself. But yeah, just being stranded in the unconscious, overwhelmed, confused, undifferentiated, potentially harmful psychic forces are closing in. I need help from a more spiritual aspect of the personality. It provides a lifeline, but it's just not enough for me to hold on to. I can't get out of the unconscious. I don't have the strength, and it doesn't have the level of assistance necessary. And then giant mechanical shark, I view as, I mean, part of me wants to say it's the self, but I would just, you know, undifferentiated archetype.
Yeah,
but it's become less real too. It's become
mechanical.
less real. It's just a representation of it, and then whatever the
just the
unconscious
head
have been trying to get through to me, it has to, you know, it deconstellates, and then then it moves on to the next thing, tries to get me to understand that.
Well, I think both images are shattering. They're just really shattering. You know what I thought of when I heard about the mechanical shark, where it's just its head. You know, there was this one somebody who was causing a lot of trouble in amongst the Hindu gods, and Vishnu or somebody made this devouring being who was called Kirti Mukha, you know, and the one who Kirti Mukha was supposed to eat suddenly surrendered to Vishnu, and now he realized that he was needed to be follow Vishnu's guidance. And so now Kirti Mukha, which is kind of just a crazy looking lion, says, well, what am I supposed to eat now? And Vishnu thinks a second, says, eat yourself. And so he eats himself, and all that's left is his face. And it's a very famous face, and it's called the face of glory, you know, Kirti Mukha. And it just reminds me of that, just this devouring head, you know. But I think, you know, Roy has said that both Dawn and Charles' dreams are somewhat similar. You know, there is an aspect of where there is in the outer world, there's a certain need of ego development, and in the inner world, it's a different situation. But because the ego isn't as developed in the outer world as it should be, there is a certain weakness, you know, in the inner world too. And yet the other side is incredibly profound and incredibly eloquent. Would you agree with that, Roy, or what do you think?
Yeah, I cut to the chase really quick. You know, when I have something in my dream that's chthonic and can eat me, and I'm afraid of, I can't integrate. Okay, that's my power. Of course, I'm going to have a weak ego. Of course, I'm not going to be able to adapt to life. Of course, I'm not going to be able to climb the rope. This thing's got all my power. So I don't care how you do it. There's lots of ways to do it. You got to form a relationship with this thing to get your power back. However you do it, there's lots of ways to do it, but you got to have a plan. It's got to make sense to you. The object of the plan is to befriend, to have a relationship with this thing. It has all your power. The more you ignore it or compartmentalize it or whatever, it's not going to give you any power. It's just going to wring the water out of the washcloth. It's just going to drain you. And you have to get your power back. Somehow you have to relate to this thing.
Yeah, I think that is true. And you know how it's done. I really don't know. I mean, it's just
it's different for everybody.
Yeah,
you know, figure it out for yourself, because it won't make sense if you follow somebody else's plan. It's not gonna. You're not gonna have the will and the to do it. If you come up with your own plan, it's like maybe you're blind or whatever, and or you're in a cave. There's no light. You can feel your way. You know, there's something in you that knows a way, that you just have to get in touch with it. You know, just daydream about it. Images will come in. You'll figure out something that's yours. You created it. That's yours. Follow that. It'll get you there.
Yeah, I think the hopeful sign in this is that the animus is trying to help us, but the puzzling aspect is that we can't be helped right now. There's an aspect of that we're not ready for it or something, you know. So anyway, Dawn, did you have any comments or questions? Or I wanted to show you this picture of Kirti Mukha. It's just, it's kind of something that's always sort of fascinated me. It's called the Face of Glory, and it's the one who's eaten, eats yourself. So he eats himself, and all that's left is the face. You know, now, what that means, I don't know, but I've never forgotten it. But anyway. Yeah, well, anyway, yeah, it's a little late to start on another dream, but Roy or Charles, if you have some dreams, why don't we go over them Wednesday? In fact, we can always go over one of my dreams. You know, I've been having quite a few lately, you know, and you know, I've been having these, you know, the one thing I would say is happening, and that I really and Roy, I don't know what you think about this, but in my active imaginations, you know, have been very weak and nothing happening for, you know, months and months and months, but I just do it anyway, you know, and the one thing two things I've discovered. One is that what imagination is. I'm going through a hallway, and as I'm going through the hallway, I say, "What is the stone walls like?" You know, and what is the yeah, okay, well, we can definitely, I'll get some of my dreams. And what is the gate like? I don't know until I kind of see it, you know, and touch it, you know. I mean, so that is imagination that doesn't come out of my head. I don't know what it looks like, but if I turn and I feel it or see it, you know, with my eyes or just sense it, then that's the only way I know. So anyway, what I think that does is it creates imaginal pathways. And what I told Amy, what's happening now is I'm going down. I can't just go down through the 7 gates anymore. I black out. Okay. I mean, I black out several times on the way down. And I think what's happening is that ego, the light of ego is going out. And now I've got to wake up over here. You know, so I think every time I'm blacking out, ego has suddenly went off here. And now the awareness is not really there anymore. But anyway, that hasn't really profited me, except for that one just recently, but was the image of the girl jumping in the shark, and then the baby that was going on. But anyway, Roy, have you had any dreams lately?
Oh yeah, I have a few dreams. I'll send you one. I got
Yeah,
a
why
real
don't you
short
send
one.
one?
All right.
Okay, and I'm going to work on Dawn's dream again, and we'll address it again. But then Charles, it'll be fun to be in Jackson, Mississippi a little bit. Are they going to get you a bed and breakfast, or I mean what do they call that?
Yeah, they got us an Airbnb right now.
Oh, great! So you're
It's
gonna have a
really
kitchen.
nice, and they're gonna stop doing hotels and just start doing
Oh,
Airbnbs
that'd
from
be
now
so
on.
fabulous. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's
it'll
really nice.
allow you to. You know, he says, just give me some rice and some lentils, and I'll make something that you know. He's what you're a sous chef. So yeah, everybody should be very happy that you're there. Well, anyway, thanks everybody. We'll see you Wednesday, and I will revisit Dawn's dream, and then we'll do a Roy and a Charles dream, and I'll bring one of my dreams too. Okay.
All right, see you
All
next
right,
time,
thanks.
guys.
Thanks everybody. See you later.